and welcome to episode 2 of Techcomp Lab Products Deep Dive series. For those who are new, every month we pick a different one of our companies to focus on, and we head over to our YouTube channel and go live, and we discuss hints and tips from across our laboratory product range. This month, we're discussing Dynamica centrifuges and overcoming common problems with them. So, William will be discussing user management and run history systems with you all today. So, over to you, William, and we hope you enjoy this morning's session.
Hello, welcome to the Dynamica Centrifuge Deep Dive series. You're joining us today, and today we're going to talk about the things that could go wrong with rotors in a centrifuge and how we can help you solve your problems. Every lab has a centrifuge, we know that. We make some of the best centrifuges on the market. We want to talk about how we can help you solve these problems. So, today, I'd like to welcome our expert, William. He is our product manager and our product specialist for Dynamica. And we're going to go through a few things that happen commonplace in every lab with a centrifuge. So, firstly, tell me, William, what are the common problems that happen with a centrifuge?
Usually, the laboratory, they have lots of different tips for different applications. So, user may be frustrated with which rotors to use. And another problem is that they may got error display on the screen. So, what can they do? Maybe they will have a centrifuge share with the team, but they don't want other people to come to use the centrifuge. Or when they lock the usage, some user may not lock very carefully. So how can we sort out how the lock of the centrifuge?
Okay, so you listed a few common things there. So we had different types of tubes,
Yes.
on the centrifuge, different errors for user errors, multiple people using the centrifuge
Right.
and locking themselves out. And then compliance as well, logbooks and how people use that. So these are all very commonplace.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not just something that would happen with our systems, they happen with every system, yeah?
Yes.
And in every lab. Okay, so these things happen. Probably lots of our audience is listening to go, yeah, we've seen that happen. How can we help them?
So when you use a centrifuge, it may give you an error, and our centrifuge will display the code on top of code to give you a brief description what's the problem on that, and we will have a list of the error message that in the screen, so you don't need to go through the menu, and then you know what to do to rectify the problem.
So on the screen, the errors are listed for the user.
Yes.
So that's really simple. So that's to do with our really nice screen. We've got a very big screen on our 18R Plus. And so you're saying that it will show up an error.
Yes,
and
in natural
list...
language.
Brilliant. Great. Okay, that's a really must shortcut lots of kind of troubleshooting for the user because it lists them all there, yeah?
Yes.
Brilliant. Okay. Give me another example of how can we help them? What else can we do?
So you may have different types of tubes and application or speed. So Dynamica, we provide you a variety of the rotors from simple fixed angle rotors, small volume, medium volume to large volume, and also the swing out rotor. So every application you will find the best rotor fit for your works.
So multiple rotors, multiple choices, swing out one as well.
Yes.
And we make sure that you have the right one for the type of application you're doing at the time.
Yes.
And that would prevent an error.
Right.
Okay. So there's another thing I was thinking of, William. What about, though, if the user is conscious of the application they need to do, selects their rotor, puts the rotor in, and it's the wrong size rotor? What would happen then?
So in our centrifuge, it will recognize the rotor you put on a centrifuge. See, it is automatic, so there is no way you put the wrong rotor and set the wrong parameters.
Oh, brilliant. So it would not happen. As soon as you
happen.
put it in, does the error come up on the screen?
This will recognize the rotor correct up for you. If you set the parameter wrongly, we will give you an error and then telling you which parameter to set again. And all the rotors are locked when you just put it in the shaft, so you won't risk not locking by yourself.
So you wouldn't do that yourself. It will always lock.
Yes, it's always
so
locked.
That's a safety function that's in
Right.
all of our centrifuges?
Yes.
Perfect. Now, I know we've recorded some scenarios, so we're going to show you our first scenario. So let's run scenario 1.
Welcome to use the dynamic centrifuge.
I can't get in. Boss man,
Okay, I'll help you, Lauren. What's happened?
it's the wrong password.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. There we go. On you go.
Thank you.
No problem.
So you've just watched a video. That was a very common scenario that would happen in lots of laboratories, and it was all about user management. So let's talk about how the Dynamica centrifuge systems can prevent that happening.
So our centrifuge has a user management. So you can assign all the users with username and password, and people without the password, they cannot log into the centrifuge and use any of our methods stored for that. It will protect the centrifuge from misuse or unauthorized use.
Brilliant. So no misuse, no unauthorized use, locked to the user's profile.
Yes.
Only one person at a time in that
Right.
sense. Brilliant. That's great. So we were just talking there about user management and having lockable accounts per person. Tell me a bit more about that, because I can imagine that's very important for some of our customers.
Yes, I will show you the step-by-step how to create the different user for different profile here. So here is the user management screen. You can set up to 100 users. And you can create each user with a name and assign a password. And you can assign each user at 3 different levels, from supervisor, admin, as well as the user. And they all password protected. So create a user is very simple. You can type the name of the user from 1 to 10 characters, and then you assign a password for that. And then set that at the different access level, like admin, super user, and the user level.
And the different levels you said was admin, super user, what was the third one? I didn't
The
hear.
user.
User, general user.
General user.
So these different levels have, I assume, different levels of access within the centrifuge?
Yes, that's true. So admin suppose can do the create user and delete user, while the super user can do method development, but they cannot manage the users. And the users can only do to run the method, and they cannot create or edit users or change the method.
So you would, in a laboratory, the likelihood is you'd have the administrator doing everything. They set everything up, and they're the ones that manage everything. And then you have the supervisor to add the second level on, and then a general user can get the basic level of access.
That's true.
And they can add and play around with other people's content.
Yes. And we also have a user lock functions that allows you to lock the centrifuge when this is turning on. So an unauthorized user, they cannot log in and change anything in the centrifuge.
That sounds very good and very safe and secure for our customers, and would solve a problem of multiple people in a lab all having access to the same kit.
Oh no! Oh dear. Okay. Hey. Lauren. Hi, Lauren. Do you see you have an error here? Don't worry about that. It happens all the time. We can get you some excellent training for that, okay?
That sounds good.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
So you've just seen a scenario, again, very common in a laboratory, where somebody wants to find out a problem that's happened and why and how it happened. And obviously our system provides a log on the computer, on the screens, which shows who's done what and at what time. So why is that useful in the laboratory?
So in most laboratories, so if you see an error and you want to know who did that, so in our system, you can review the log here. So with a user log and the activity, you can see who is doing the mistakes and what was the trouble, and then you can solve the problem. And further, you can train up the users to using the centrifuge more properly. So here I will show you the steps how to get the log from our systems.
Okay.
So in our centrifuge, in the screen, in the home screen, you can press the menu and then you can enter the submenu where you will find the run history icon.
So the sub menu is another menu where it has the run history icon. Yeah.
Right. You will see the run history icon in submenu, and then press it, and then you will see the run history submenu, which lists the date and the time of each run with user name and the time, and also all the parameters like the speed, temperature, and the total run time, and the status of that run. It is the good run or any error associated with that run.
So as a supervisor, you could come along, get yourself to that run history screen, and quite quickly identify what the problem was, at what time, and what error was given by that miscommunication on the system. Yeah.
Yes, and further on that, you can check the status if this is run okay or not. If the run is okay, they will show okay. If the run is have something wrong with that, they will see what's wrong with that.
So it identifies the error and lets the team work out what they need to do to correct it.
Yes.
Brilliant.
And further, you can export this log to a USB disk and then keep archive in the PC computers.
So you can extract that, export it in a standard file format.
Yes.
That you can then put on your computer to work on later.
In our centrifuge, we have a USB port that allow you to plug in a USB disk to export those data, and then you can store this data in a PC.
Yeah, excellent. That would be very useful for many, many people. In most labs, they'll have software and computers running somewhere else where they can take the data off the centrifuge and go through the log on an Excel spreadsheet, for example.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that was a really excellent run through of the key common problems that would happen in many laboratories with the centrifuge. And obviously we would really hope that you would see the value in what the Dynamica centrifuge can do for you. So William, let's tell everybody why is the Dynamica Velocity 18R Plus the best on market right now?
Here's our key features of the Velocity 18 Plus centrifuge. So we have a unique rotor self-locking systems. We have auto rotor recognitions, the color touchscreen operations, and we can store up to 99 programs. And the imbalance tolerance is very high, and we display the temperature in the actual temperature. So fast acceleration, decelerations in the operation is very quiet. And you have a choice of different rotors, and we care about safety, durability, and reliability.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. We're going to move to our Q&A session, and we'll see you there.
So, thank you very much for that, William and CJ. We're now going to take some questions from our audience. So I'll start with a question first to you, William. And that is, what is the most important factor to consider when buying a centrifuge?
Okay, thank you for the questions. And when you select the centrifuge, the most important will be the speed and the capacity that you need for your applications. So we have some tools to assist you to select the best centrifuge and the rotors for your requirement on speed and capacity. Of course, our sales teams and technical team are ready to give you the best suggestions.
That's great. Thank you, William. So we've got another question. that's coming from a member of our audience, and that's how many users can you assign as admins?
Oh, in our centrifuge, we can set up to 100 users, which is, I think, more than enough in most of the laboratories.
That is quite a lot of people. A follow-up question to that is, if the 1000th user has been assigned, which log will get written over, and can you choose a specific user to remove?
Uh, so after the 1000 log, that the log will be override, but we have a export facility that you can export those log to a USB disk, and then you can archive those information in the PC. So the log will keep running and override the 1000 log, but you can save it to the PC.
Oh, okay. That's really good to know. Another question we've got in is, I set the temperature to run at 4 degrees Celsius, but I always observe some ice on the chamber of the ball after spinning. Is that normal?
Setting temperature at 4 degrees and you see the ice on the chamber, that is a normal situation. We in Dynamica centrifuge, we are using temperature compensations that calculate the best refrigeration power to keep the rotor and sample at the set temperature. In case of the set temperature at 4 degrees, due to the heat generated from the high-speed motor, the centrifuge need to produce a stronger refrigeration power to cope with this, and probably the chamber will be at below 0 degree, so that the rotor is at 4 degrees. So this is why the reason why you observe some ice in the chamber, and this is most situations. Just wipe the ice out with a clean cloth, and that will be okay.
Thank you very much. Another question is, how do I check that the running speed is accurate to the speed that I have set?
Oh, so you need a technometer, and you can purchase this technometer from most of the uh, testing equipment company. After that, then you stick a silver label to the rotor, and you set the speed. Then you use the technometer. Then it will give you a reading on that rotor, and you can compare the reading on the technometer together with our speed showing on the screen. That will check the rotor speed.
Thank you very much, William. Nathan has asked, how do I know which rotor and tube best suit my application?
Okay, that will need I need to know the speed or the capacity that in your applications. So if we know these two informations, then our technical team or sales team will advise you the best router for that applications.
Thank you very much. And then we have, what will happen if I input a speed that is higher than the maximum speed of the rotor?
Oh, you cannot do that. But in that case happens, our centrifuge will stop and will not spin at that high speed. So we have a rotor recognition systems. So every rotor you put into our centrifuge, the system will know which rotor and the parameter, like the maximum speed. If you set it higher than that, our centrifuge will give you an error and then reset the parameters. So after that, then you cannot get the speed higher than that. So the safety is guaranteed.
Okay, thank you very much, William. I think that is all the questions that we have. So I'd like to say thank you very much, William,
Thank
for
you.
speaking about all the centrifuges, and to CJ as well. And we will see you at the next one, which will be for Precisa and their range of balances. Thank you.